not be?
Alright, so hello Internet, and welcome to Rise of Tiamat number 1. For those of you who are unfamiliar with why we're not calling this Hoard of the Dragon Queen, that's because the first ever module released by Wizards of the Coast in conjunction with the folks from Kobold Press, who, again, if you're unfamiliar with that, they outsourced all of their initial modules before they took over production in Curse of Strahd and beyond. So, Rise of Tiamat is this book right here. It's the second of 2 parts. Hoard of the Dragon Queen is the first 8 levels. This is like the second 8 levels, if you want to think about it that way, but it's a split story. So you could play one and not the other. Pick whichever you want to do, but for the purposes of this, we're going to go through both. That being said, you see 2 returning faces in Roswen and Odella, played by Katie and Laura, and 1 new face, which is Leo, played by Celeste. So, we're going to get into... Actually, before I go too crazy, Celeste, since we usually do this at the end, but I know where everybody else is, because it's usually just here on this channel, where are you from, and what if the new people that don't know who you are, where can they find you?
Yeah, so some of you might know me, some of you might not, but my name is Celeste Konowich. You can usually find me. I am the Dungeon Master for the Venture Maidens podcast, and the live stream for that happens every Wednesday, so you can always find me on Twitter at @ckonowich, or check me out in a DM capacity for Venture Maidens, which you can find on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever podcasts are free, and then also YouTube and all the normal places. But yeah, hopefully you like me, and I'm excited to be here.
That's good. We like to hear that. Also,
so hesitant.
I don't know. I'm new. I'm like the new kid. I don't even know.
And it's been a while since you've been a player on in a consistent capacity, right?
This will be my first time in a consistent live stream campaign as a PC character.
There we go.
Oh, wow.
I've done one-shots, but never...
Glad to be your first.
Yes.
Time.
So, I guess we'll give you guys now some background on what's happened. Some of that is going to come out in the course of the game, so I'm not going to talk about what happened in the last campaign. One, because I'll give you guys a spoiler warning now. If you haven't seen it and you want to check it out, there are 30 episodes on YouTube. Most of them are on Twitch until Twitch changed their stupid, can't upload videos anymore, but you can premiere them. It's annoying. So that's out there for you guys to see. It's also on the website, the nerdimmersion.com. But we're going to get to that in the game. So what happened that we need to explain that you don't know? Well, at the end of the last campaign, we saw the party sort of split a little bit, 3 of them going one way, 1 going another, and basically a year has passed in game time. It was 1490 DR here in the Forgotten Realms. It is now 1491. It basically, I didn't realize it, as I said, it was about 3 months until it hit summertime. So it's right around March, April, if you want to correlate that to the real world in game right now. So, just to give you a little frame of reference, it's the springtime, new beginnings, new campaign, everything works out pretty well, thematically. So, after about 2 or so months, Mir, our Tabaxi rogue, previously played by Liz, was called away by a mission for the Harpers, a very secret, covert thing. No time to say goodbye, you gotta get out of there right now. So she left a note for Odella, and took all of her magic items with her, because DM not overpowering the party.
By wish.
Fine.
So she took
My
all
luck sword.
Yeah. Yeah, that luck blade is off with Mir, but who knows? She may return over the course of this campaign.
I hope when she does, she chooses to spend that wish.
Nah, she'll forget about it.
I wish that Tiamat would never come back.
Yay!
Game over.
Puzzle solved.
Although,
Pumpkin pie.
probably some complications if the wish was worded like that, but that's fine. We can see what'll happen. But anyway, Cthulhu shows up and then eats Tiamat, but now you gotta deal with Cthulhu.
Yeah,
So-
I said I was good at
Oh.
wishes. If you guys watch
Man.
this 24-hour stream, I'm terrible at wishes.
It's true. Oh man, Roombas for gargoyles. Anyway, so that basically after 3 months' time, the Belladonnas had set out what they said they were going to do from about halfway through the campaign, and they built a pie and bathhouse combo called the Primpin' Pie in the city of Scornabel, Odella's hometown. A city they visited on their way through their journey, and it was also, they knew there was a tournament coming up. They said, if we build this, we can use this as great promotional material for our new shop. And also, they totally did that, because for ourselves and to build the rapport of the characters, we played a session over the weekend that introduced Celeste's character, Leo, to the Belladonnas, and they went through a great tournament thing, and intrigue and mystery, and they met Simon Sack of Potatoes, the halfling, and they went on this great mission to try to thwart a murder that wasn't really a murder, but there was a lot of disappointment. And
Ruse.
I've never been so upset that there wasn't actually a murder.
Yeah, it was a red herring. Ted.
Yes. So, basically that happened, and then that was about 3 months into our year, and then the remaining months of the year, various things have happened. The Belladonnas have bought and sold several magic items as a group. They are extremely successful businesswomen, averaging 100 gold plus profit per month of the Primpin' Pie, covering the staff. This 100 profit, again, above room and board for themselves, stabling for their horses, wages and for their staff, and materials for baking pies. So very successful businesswomen. Good job, Belladonnas, in that respect.
We all have pantsuits now.
They all have pantsuits. That's a thing that also happened. They also now all have horses. I guess Leo is not a businesswoman. That's
This is
true.
facts. He's
Business.
just not.
But he does look good in a pantsuit. That is
He looks
accurate.
good in everything and nothing. It's amazing.
Exactly. It's one of my my feats.
Yes. What else did we? Did I miss any? You guys exchanged some knowledge of teaching people how. Leo got his driver's license, essentially.
I did, yes. My
it-
vehicle proficiency.
Got vehicle proficiency in land vehicles. Also learned Draconic from his
I
two
did.
allies who speak Draconic.
To better understand my enemies.
Yes.
'Cause I just want to kill a dragon. That's like my big.
Yes.
Oh man, I want to kill them all.
Stick
Well,
with us, kid.
there's a whole bunch, I promise. What else? What else did I miss? Because you guys did several things. You reached.
There was a birth.
Bizzle.
What?
Birth?
Yes.
What?
There was a birth of Geodude.
Oh, that's
Oh
true.
God!
I forgot.
was like,
Who was
what happened, you
pregnant?
guys?
Roswen, her male geode that you all so graciously gifted in the form of trinkets. She figured out how to hatch, and now has her own little Geodude, if you will, which is
We
basically a Geonid. If you're familiar with the monster from the Turtle package, is basically one of those with a couple of tweaks to make it more Pokemon-esque. What else? Anything major that I missed other than, businessing and acquiring magic items and training? Did I miss anything?
Leo got this sweet goblet to celebrate being part of
Nice.
this crew now.
Very
so
nice.
Cheers, everybody.
That is.
You said there was a tournament, but we didn't go into how much we killed that tournament.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, we slayed that.
Every event that the Belladonnas entered, they won.
Sweetie Pie, which is Roswen wild shaped as a horse with Odella riding her, won the horseback riding competition. So that's 2 wins for Sweetie Pie and Odella.
That's true.
And then Odella, you won spell casting.
Mm-hmm.
Rosalind's only slightly bitter.
Yeah. Rosalind got
We
knocked
don't
out
talk.
before the
No, she
elimination.
didn't. Perfect, so you could win.
Yeah, okay.
Leo won the poet competition, the Clash of the
Yes.
Poets, as well
Yes.
as the joust and the grand melee.
Well, did
I'm
you
a fancy
find the
boy.
Grand Melee, or
Oh yeah, technically I didn't win the grand melee. We all won the grand
Well,
melee.
you tied the grand melee, but you still were given the prize.
Yeah.
So I feel like that you guys were gifted the magic item that came from that.
And let's not forget the most important
Oh, yeah.
competition, the pie eating competition,
That is true.
which Roswen won.
She did.
Why?
She tied the dwarf, and then through die rolls, because that's literally how the tournament was decided.
That's not how she remembers it.
That's fine. It was.
at least she remembers it this time.
It was to say it was.
Yeah,
it
the
was.
drinking competition didn't go well for her.
It was 9 months ago. You can remember it however you want.
Mhm.
Supplant your own memories. That's how that works.
Mhm.
Denial.
So yes, that happened. But in doing so, the Belladonnas are even more legendary in the town of Scornabel now as tournament victors, as the owners of one of the most successful and only that people know of pie/bathhouse.
We cornered the market there.
You
Steve.
did corner the market, a market people didn't know they needed, and now
That's how
they
you're
can't.
successful.
They can't
Yeah.
live without it.
Yep. Everybody's been to a tavern, but have you been to a pie/bathhouse? No.
With a bar?
Yeah,
No.
that's true because you guys do have alcohol in there as
Yeah,
well.
we had
We
a
do.
bar.
We have a nice
have a liquor
terrace
license.
area, and
Yeah, so you can go get your favorite pie and a
Mhm.
drink, and then go sit in a nice warm sauna bath, and then eat your pie.
We don't need to play D&D, Ted. We just want to do this. Like,
I
let's just
know.
play this every
am-
day.
I
How are
understand.
the numbers, Ted?
That-
How are the numbers?
How are the numbers? Can we make it work?
That's fine. That is this plus 24-hour stream conversations is why there's a very good chance the next Extra Life stream may just be a D&D coffee shop and everybody is an employee. And basically that's it. And when you leave, your shift ends.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Well, you may be one of the employees.
Yes, and then I will stay up and watch the rest.
only if I get to play the same characters I played on 24 hours.
You want to be Steve the
Yay.
gargoyle
I do wanna
in
be
the
the
coffee shop?
Yep.
I
Wow.
want to be the person who got the job because they knew somebody, but everybody hates.
Listen, this is my D&D way to try and get everybody who has ever worked a retail job to just
Vent.
get it all out there. Give me all your stories, because we're gonna have that guy. You know that guy from that one store you have. He's gonna be in the shop.
Oh,
Yeah. He's got to be there.
Oh, yeah. We can beat him up for charity.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So, okay. So I think that pretty much, and again, did I miss anything major? There was a couple of conversations that were had. Katie,
About
do you
horses,
want...
they have a love story. I don't know if you want
Yeah,
to.
the
Had a
horses...
great birthday party.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
Leo had a great birthday party.
Oh my
birthday
god.
party.
Celeste, lay out that birthday party for us.
Yeah, okay. So Leo's 3 favorite things were there. He got to play with lions,
Yep.
which is amazing. And I got a loot. I got a DOS loot for my birthday. And I got some ladies of the night snuck up to my room. So that was a bunch of fun. My 3 favorite things. And that was thrown by Roswen, who I am eternally grateful for. Now I really feel like a part of this team.
Yes. So, we haven't really touched on that too much. So why don't you tell the people, because the party knows, because they've played with Leo for a while. Why don't you tell us, give everybody, who is Leo, describe him, tell everybody.
Sure. Okay. So I am playing a character named Leopold Godfrey, who's known as the Blue Lion. He is a bard / fighter. His whole backstory: he was technically an entertainer for the backstory, or the whatever you call that,
Mhm.
but with the Gladiator edition that they introduced in one of the books. So he grew up basically in a temple of Malil.
Yep.
Is that how you say that?
That's
Temple
how we're
of
gonna say.
Malil.
That's how we're
Yeah.
gonna say it.
Great. So the god of poetry and song, his mother was a priestess, so he grew up there, and then he went to bard school and put his way through bard school by being a gladiator. So he grew up with theater folk and fighters, and then he basically wanted to go off into the world and adventure, and he's been doing that for a long time, constantly seeking glory, better stories to tell. He's got this whole backlog of great feats that he's all about, and now he has decided that he had to seek out the Belladonnas because, well, you know what they're known for? Saving this town and killing some dragons. He's like, that's it. That's my next thing. So he's joined up in hopes of finding glory and battle. So he's very much fighty oriented as opposed to more of your traditional bard. But yeah, that's a little bit about him. I guess he stands like 6'2". He's got very Mediterranean features, hair that he keeps perfectly coiffed at all times. Kind of a everyone's man, not just ladies.
Mhm.
And let's see. What else did I miss? He's got a sick helmet that looks like a lion's head.
Yeah.
And a cool sword and a bunch of cool stuff, but we'll go into that later.
Yeah, that'll come out over the course of the game for sure. So I think we've explained, Leo, we've explained what happened over the year. So I think that's as good a point as any to roll into Rise of Tiamat episode 1. So where we will begin with our party is where they spend almost all of their time, their business, where they are extremely savvy, making money, but also pie and baths are things. There's a whole layout to this thing. Laura did a whole map for it. It's very, very cool. So you guys are in the Primp and Pie on an average day. Things are going well. Everybody's happy, because who isn't happy in a place where all you can get is baths, drinks, and pie? And as things are going along, it gets past lunchtime. You guys have lunch, and shortly after, a squirrel, right? A squirrel comes running in the front door, comes over to the three of you, climbs up on like the counter, looks at you, and it has in an oilskin, like a parcel wrapped in oilskin, like strapped to its belly as it's kind of running in, or its back, I guess makes more sense. Comes running in, and it speaks in a human voice, a voice familiar to Roswen and Odella, and it says, Leosin Erlenthar sends his heartiest congratulations. Please use this gift this squirrel brings to meet me in Waterdeep as soon as possible. And then it deposits the scroll, and then the squirrel runs away.
Come back. You're so cute.
Wait, the guy's name was Leosin?
Yes.
Leosin. That Leosin is Harper agent that we met that originally set us on to the Cult of the Dragon.
Anybody with Leo in their name sounds like a great guy to me. So
you're gonna learn about
Let's
killing
roll.
dragons. He's gonna be the one to tell us to go towards some dragons.
So you guys unroll this this parchment, and basically what you can see is this is a teleportation scroll, but it is a specific sigil, I guess, configuration to take you to Waterdeep. So basically, for all intents and purposes, everything is primed and ready to go. As soon as you want to activate this, you can, and then it will take you to somewhere in Waterdeep.
Okay, so you mentioned that this is the guy for dragons, right? You said that out loud in front of Leo?
Mhm.
Okay, great. He drops everything he's doing, runs immediately to his room, and then has to start picking out which weapons he's going to bring, and it takes a bit.
Make sure you clean up the ones that you're not taking. Do not leave them on the floor like you.
Yep, sure. Got it. Uh-huh. Clash, clash, clash.
I look at Odella. It's gonna be trashed.
Oh, jeez. I'll make sure someone cleans it later.
That's why we have staff.
Yes. So, you take the time, you gather up all of your whatever instruments you wish to bring with you. what of Odella and Roswen? Are you guys doing anything specific, or are you guys just good to
Yeah,
go?
I'll get the business affairs in order. I'll go to our the main person that I normally put in charge of the business, and I give her that sending stone, and then I also kind of give her the deets on what I expect to hear from her every week.
Oh my god. Status reports.
And then I go up and I collect all my adventuring gear because obviously I'm probably not wearing it on a normal day.
That's fair. A reasonable thing to assume. And what of Roswen?
Well,
Just chasing after that squirrel.
that's not my squirrel.
Can't get me that squirrel.
I don't chase tail like that, okay, guys?
That's my job.
So I don't have much to pack. She usually carries everything that she needs with her, including her spoon to make extra food, her infinite bag of salt, and her horse sex book. And she just puts them all in her bag and then goes out her little garden entrance and talks to one of the little orphans that they took in. And it's like, okay, so don't forget this plant over here needs extra water, explains her garden so it's not all dead when she comes back. And she goes to her little buddy, not little anymore, because she found a large tadpole in the last campaign.
Yes, this is the giant frog tadpole that you rescued from below Castle Nirtar, and you're going to take it, and it's now matured into a frog. It's a giant frog.
Mm-hmm. And she's just like, okay. She can't speak with animals. She's like, okay, so don't let anybody be mean to people in here. Otherwise, just swallow them for a second and then take them out of the street and spit them back out because we don't deal with that kind of behavior here.
She's our bouncer. It's perfect.
Okay, and he's just like, yup.
Okay, and then just make sure that all the little kiddos stay safe. And, I'll be back, I'm sure, no time. So, I'll miss you. And I give him a kiss, and then I kind of look, and I'm like, okay, not a prince. And I leave.
Dare to dream.
And he just sits there, and it just sort of his throat expands a little bit, and then you just walk out of and he just, his eyes blink, slow one and then the other, and he doesn't move. He's just hanging out there.
I love that guy. Man of few words, but he gets me.
Sure. Why not? Okay, so if everybody has gathered all of their gear and has put all of their affairs, business,
we
or
don't
otherwise,
know exactly where this skull is going to be sending us.
somewhere in Waterdeep.
Do we think it's going to be outside somewhere in Waterdeep?
Make me an Arcana check as you look over this scroll.
We did just buy horses.
Well, can't we sit on our horses and then take them with us?
If we go inside a building, it's gonna be weird.
Has that ever stopped us before?
An Arcana check?
Yeah.
That is 12.
Okay, I'll say that's good enough. This isn't a teleport spell. This is more like a teleportation circle spell. Mm-hmm, so it only goes to a pre-registered location. Mm-hmm. You will say you can tell that this is taking you to a temple in Waterdeep. What temple?
Horses are fine then.
I've seen A Knight's Tale. This goes over great, guys.
Yeah.
Okay. It is you also know that the 3 of you and 3 horses, it can accommodate 6 creatures.
Oh, perfect. It was meant to be.
So,
but what about Pygot? Does he
count? What about Floyd?
That's tricky. Yes, this is a problem. You have too many things. You only have one scroll.
Pygot is precious to me.
I will say,
I will buy a new horse in Waterdeep.
Which one is Pygot again?
He's my pseudo dragon.
Your pseudo dragon. Okay.
Oh, by the way, Leo, you would have experienced this, and you would have probably loved this. So Pygot, the backstory that we've never really gone into, Odella rescued Pygot from a super pervy wizard. So yes. Pseudo dragons can communicate feelings or images.
Oh.
So Pygot routinely puts like tasteful nudes in everybody's head but Odella's of everyone in the situation. So she doesn't believe that any of this is happening because he's only nice to her. But like you'll get like a tasteful nude of you like in like some dramatic pose or like
I love it.
or like well like it's Roswen's super awkward, so sometimes it's like Roswen gets an image of her. Or it's like you, and then there's like some random dude, like Sir Egan, probably. Tasteful nude of Sir Egan in your head at the tournament. Absolutely.
Oh my god.
I will amend that over the past year, Pygot has removed Roswen from his card of people that he puts as tasteful.
But I'm still there, right?
Oh yeah, you're totally there.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So since Roswen has like expressed that she doesn't particularly like it, so
it was probably the time that they met a random dwarf and Roswen got an image of him in her head, and he got an image of Roswen in his head.
Oh boy.
That there was a lot of awkward blushing.
She used it to get a favor out of that dwarf, though. So
yeah, that's true. She did.
Your pseudo dragon is an artist.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got great imagination.
I imagine Leo's just like, yes, we must paint this image and hang
We
it.
must. I'm inspired. Pygot and I sit in the studio trying to recreate tasteful
There
nudes.
is like on Leo's birthday, the tasteful image of a nude, gleaming Leo like wrestling with the lions.
That's amazing.
While
That's
there's
the
like
poster I have in my room.
while like while the ladies of the night are like fawning to the side watching
Yay.
it. Yeah, totally.
Like old Renaissance pictures.
Exactly.
basically.
Yeah, like the front cover
Fantastic.
of most like smut books, like those, Yeah. I'm talking about like
Yes.
Fabio style, like
Yes.
just like that.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Totally.
So I can't leave Pygot behind. I will buy a new horse if I have to.
All right, so fine. I will say I will allow I'll allow Pygot to come because he's sort of a familiar. So like I'm gonna say that a familiar doesn't count. But what I'm ultimately saying is that it's Floyd or Poppy.
I mean, Floyd is 5'3" or whatever. Didn't you say now?
Yeah, he's a 5'3" sunflower. He's not
know.
exactly he's stealthy, but he's not like gonna slip into your bag.
I guess. I mean, but he picks
Odella will
I
say
can pick
her
lock.
horse can stay behind if you want to take Poppy.
Great.
I mean, maybe you need Floyd to run the garden. Like,
No, I got little kitties for that.
okay.
I talk to them in my spare time.
Okay. So who all is going? So your horse is staying behind.
Yeah, Melikith will stay behind. I will buy a new horse. I don't
Thank
care.
you,
Horses
Odella.
mean nothing to me.
I'm
That's
definitely bringing Harley, so
Well, Harley, and then we
I'm riding
have
my Harley.
Poppy and Pygot and
And
Floyd.
Yeah.
Okay, so your Geode is staying behind.
What? But he fits in my
He's
shell.
still a creature.
Ugh.
Oh,
No
wow.
more bunny snake.
Oh, and the bunny too.
Ted, you did this on purpose.
I didn't, but now I love it. So yes, let's say I did.
This is who I am. Okay.
This is what happens. Too many pets.
All right, we gotta go, guys.
I'm gonna need some more trinkets.
It's like, what's the
Yeah.
problem here?
All right. All right. I take the bunny out. I'm gonna. Well, you never sent me the stats for Floyd. Is he like hardy now?
He's not like super hard. I never did. You're right. How much health does he have right now? Not a lot. He doesn't have a lot.
14.
Yeah, if anything, you'd be looking at like mid to high 20s.
Okay, I'm gonna take my baby with me then, I guess, because he can go under disguise of a rock.
Okay,
Oh, that's
so
nice.
Floyd will stay behind to help your frog be a bouncer,
Yeah.
or whatever you want him to do.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that if I was being rowdy at a bar and a giant frog swallowed me, and then like a last sunflower like brandished a knife at me, I'd be like, I'm out of here,
I
man.
know. Not worth it.
Yeah, one day, you know what? There'll be time to come back to Scornabel. You'll be able to figure out Floyd's. You'll be able to send him back home. someday.
I know. I really want to send him back to 1950s New York.
He'll get to go one
That's
day.
where he says he's from. I've never heard of it.
You mean 1920s New York?
Oh yeah,
1920s.
1920s.
Get that time period wrong. He'll be so sad.
Yeah. His lady will be long gone.
His best girl will be long dead. Or married even, maybe. I don't know.
Long dead. It's only 30 years.
You don't know how old she is. Maybe she's an older woman. I could see that for him.
This is what happens in my games, Celeste.
Oh my god, we need to go. Let's go to Waterdeep. What's happening?
Yeah.
Normal
So,
things.
if everybody... Oh, you said you had something you wanted to do.
Oh, I was just going to leave a basket of identical scrolls tied with a ribbon for the halfling who is running the front desk and be like, if anybody asks for me, just hand him one of these.
Okay.
It's just my basket of breakup notes.
Oh. Wow.
I love it. I love it.
They're all
Amazing.
identical, but there are like 15 in there, so it should be enough.
Dear resident, thank you for a lovely time.
No, it just says like my love at the top.
My love, yes,
Yeah,
there we
yeah.
go.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, so you guys, if everybody's good with all of their animals or otherwise, and breakup notes, or
That is a strong word, but yes, let's go.
you activate the scroll, and, you see that as you're... Odella will just say that you're doing it, because you're the arcane-ishest person here.
Sure.
You read off the scroll. The runes kind of, as you read them, they disappear off of the scroll and appear on the floor around you in a circle. And you guys kind of, Star Trek teleporter, you just materialize away into little stars. And then you rematerialize inside a temple, again, in the similar fashion. And then the magic sort of dissipates and the scroll burns up. Or, disintegrates into ashes.
Cool. Where are
You
we?
you assume you're in a temple in Waterdeep, as that is what you were led to believe. But there's you're in a room. It's a circular chamber, fairly high ceilings, about 40 feet around, and there's a set of doors. But you're pretty much isolated right now.
Can we get the horses through the doors?
For the sake of not having to deal with this, yes.
Okay, sweet.
They're big double doors that swing open. You can fit the horses through. You might not be
Harley's
able
a big
to
double horse.
I was gonna say, you might not be able to ride the horse through, but you could definitely walk it.
You can't ride the horse through, guys.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'll lead the
So-
horses.
You can lead them out. So,
Okay.
you guys step out into a fairly, I guess I would say almost modern looking temple. The architecture and things is more modern than you've seen, and it also seems to be crafted in such a way that it could only be done, you would imagine, via magic, not with any kind of simple stonework. And as you look around, you guys can identify that this is a temple of Mistra, goddess of magic. Sort of makes sense. Also, her symbol is stars, and the fact that you materialized in stars sort of makes sense. And you guys can see there's the long rows of pews, and then eventually the door that leads out into the street.
Super awkwardly, just traipse our way through the temple.
Is there anybody here? What time of day is it?
It's about lunchtime, so it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And yeah, there's some priestesses attending to various things towards the front, scrubbing things down. But you notice they're not using their hands; they're just using magic, prestidigitating things clean. And there's a handful of people just heads bowed in worship here in the temple.
Cool. Yeah, let's just sneak on out of here. Or maybe no. I want to find somebody who looks like they're in charge. Is there anyone with a large hat or a rainbow, a multicolored shawl that looks more important than anybody else?
There is a woman there in fairly resplendent. Actually, oh shit. So this would be, what is this? A Weimar Keeper. So she has this, and I wish this wasn't the case, but it is. So it's a Weimar Keeper, which is a high-ranking official in a Mistran temple. Their outfit is a multicolor rainbow, skin tight, low plunging neckline, spandex suit
You found that person. You found him.
Of
And
course I found this person.
The first thing you
My
saw.
eyes immediately locked on this person.
So you see there are other people in, like, silver and blue robes. Almost, I'm going to say, like, 90% of deities in Faerun have blue and silver as their color scheme. I don't know why. It makes it very confusing. But she's there in this red and purple and green and blue, like, skin-tight, if latex was a thing, like that. But it's, like, we're talking, like, deep V. Like,
Oh
to
my
the
God.
navel, to the navel deep V.
Leo tries not to run over there,
And
but walks very quickly.
And you know, you could imagine that certain Weimar Keepers may not pull this look off, especially the portly dwarf variety may not pull this off very well.
No.
But
No.
That chest hair, though.
yeah, man, it's just like, it's something. But
You know, it depends if you let the clothes wear you or if you wear the clothes. You know, no
Yeah.
judgment.
But she is not a dwarf. She is quite attractive, and this plunging neckline does nothing but help to the color scheme a little wonky, but she looks good, and she seems to be the one with the air of who is in charge.
Yep, like I said, I'm gonna rush right over there, leading my horse behind, or maybe I should hand off my horse. I'm like, Odella, horse. And then I go over there and I do a sweeping bow,
Of course she
and
do.
I offer my hand forward. Leopold, Godfrey, madam, apologize for the intrusion. We seem to have been called here, and, well, I'm a little bit lost. I was hoping that I could find the answer in your eyes. I mean...
She turns and she smiles and she chuckles a little bit to herself, and she'll kind of beckon for you to stand up, and you can see she's got dark, like, chestnut brown hair past her shoulders, and she's got deep green eyes, and she looks at you and she says, and again she can't help but have a little smile on her face, because, like, that was pretty cheesy, but, like,
I'm goofy and pretty.
but you're pulling it off. And she says, well, and she, like, looks behind you first and, like, sees that there's, like, horses and, like, a tiefling, all the, like, a whole random group of people here. And she's like, Mistra works in mysterious ways, I suppose. So what brings you here again?
We were summoned by a note of some kind. Do we have the note?
It was a scroll and it vanished. Magic.
Great. All right. From Leozen? Is that what his name
And
was?
she says, I'm familiar. She says, well, I mean, it's you'd have to have access to the teleportation circle. So I know you didn't sneak in here, so that's fine.
Of course, I sneak nowhere, madam.
And she's just like,
I am only invited many places.
and she's like,
Wink. No, I don't do that. That's
do you?
creepy.
And she's just
I
like,
don't wink.
all
But
right,
I'm being flirty.
okay. And she's like, hee. Oh, you're
Aw.
so silly. And she says, but what? So, do you have business here in the temple or business elsewhere?
We're not sure. I'm gonna look back at all of you and be like, do we know?
Yes, Odella will speak and be like, Leo, I know where we're going. You don't have to ask anybody.
Oh. Well, then I was foolish, but I could not stop myself from coming over here. So, and what was your name?
Alyssa.
Alyssa. The name shall hold fast in my heart.
And
Thank
she's
you for
just-
your assistance.
She's like, of course. It's like, you're being very practical, but at the same time very flattering, and it's hard to like I can't be, like, upset with you because you're being polite, but also flattering, and I'm not sure how to take this. Is all just so sudden. You appeared in my temple, and like, and she's like, yes, well, I hope you find what you're looking for, and go with. Oh, geez, I can't remember any Mistra things, but go with Mistra. And
Well, if I find myself staying in the city for a couple days, perhaps I shall see you again.
And she says, I think I'd like that.
I certainly would. And I would like to kiss her hand and then leave.
And she's just like takes it, and she like turns, and like you guys, and she's got like a degree of composure, and you see that there's like another younger priestess who's just in, you know, simple silver and blue vestments with the 7-pointed star of Mishra on it, and like the other one's kind of giving her like an eyebrow as they're walking out, and she's like get back to work, you know. And
Roswen runs over to her and hands her a business card and says, you know, you live at the Primp and Pie in Squirnavel if you're ever in town.
And she's like, so much information. She takes the card and she's like, thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
Oh, I'm sure you will. Come on, Poppy.
And you guys exit out of the Temple of Mishra.
Give Harley back to Leo, and I'm like, okay, I know you gotta do what you gotta do, but don't ever hand me your horse ever again.
Sure. And I'm like looking off, like smiling to myself.
So, you guys, basically, we'll say with relative ease, you can sort of gather where you're supposed to go. Because Leo actually didn't tell you, he just had you get to Waterdeep.
Well, I was just figuring that we're going to the same place that we met people last time. That was my assumption.
That is a
Ooh.
good...
Since he didn't say where to go, I just assumed based on like my knowledge of how things usually work is that either I can find an outpost where I can get information, or I would just go back to the place that we met before.
Fair enough. So, yeah, you guys are starting making your way through Waterdeep. And again, if you haven't been here before, which I believe probably all of you have, Waterdeep is the city of Splendors. It is a beautiful, massive metropolis here in the Forgotten Realms, one of the largest cities, if at least the largest city on the Sword Coast, if not the largest city in most areas. Pretty much anything you could want, you could find if you know the right person and have the right coin here in this city. So you start making your way towards the tavern where you had met once before. And when you are intercepted by Leosin as he's moving towards you, and he says, he says, well, it's so good to see you. And he looks to Odella, and he looks to Roswen, and he looks to Leo with a little bit of a confused face, and like looks to see, and he's like, change of roster, I assume.
Yes.
Very first Belladonna.
Yep.
Proud to be here.
He kind of happened upon us.
And he puts out his hand, and you see he is he's a slight but muscular half elf monk. And he's and he puts his hand, he's got I think he has a mustache, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he puts his hand out to shake your hand, and
I do the thing when I recognize another soldier, and I'm like, clasp arms, dudeness.
And he's like, well met. So he says, I invited you here as, well, things have been quiet for the past year, a little too quiet. And we believe that while your efforts did deal a powerful blow to the Cult of the Dragon, we'd be foolish to assume that they took that and ran, and that nothing has happened since. So, there has been a few developments in new information that has made its way towards us, and a council has been called. And you, the Belladonnas, have been invited to be a part of that council. So, please come with me. And he will lead you towards a massive kind of noble estate. And as you guys are making your way there, a sudden shift in the wind brings with it a strange sense of unease. The feeling is akin to the drop in air pressure before the approach of a deadly storm, or faint tremors felt from landslides or earthquakes far away. You're not the only ones who have noticed it. The city around you goes unnaturally quiet. No dogs bark, no birds squawk, even the street vendors have gone silent. Your horses seem perturbed as if there's a danger that they don't recognize. You even feel the little rumbling of your little geode in your backpack. Pygot seems nervous as well and seems to be fighting an instinct to fly away from you at this moment. And Leosin is keen to this as well, looking about. And we haven't done it in a long time, but I think we're actually going to take a break right there. It's a little earlier than I had anticipated. I know Celeste had asked me that question if we would take a break. But yeah, we're going to do that. So sorry to kind of spring that on you guys, but
No worries.
I know it was a little bit early, but
What a cliffhanger, though, am I right?
What is this earth noise?
Oh,
we'll
Okay.
see.
Then
All right.
I
first
will.
dragon, Leo.
Yeah. We're looking for rainbow onesies so we can be like that chick.
Yeah. Well, you got to look a little harder because it's not just a onesie.
Well, we decided that we didn't want to be like.
Yeah, we're like realistically,
uncomfortable.
it's 9 p.m. on a Monday.
Well, that's
It's too much for a
Closest we
rainbow
can get is
cat
that
suit.
deep plunge with the zipper, you know?
this one's pretty good. This one, the first one Laura posted.
Yeah.
If you go with that and just deepen the V, that's pretty good.
Listen, my belly button is secret. It's a myth. Nobody knows if it really exists.
Fair. Sure. Okay. We're gonna try to keep playing this game. For how long? Well, there's a garbage can next to me, so we'll see how long.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you
Ted.
sick too?
I just puked my guts out. So I'm here for you guys though, because I love you, internet.
Man, you're committed. I'd be like, yeah, I'm out. Bye.
I'm gonna try to go as far as I can. And if you see me just be like, whoop, then you know what happened.
Just mute.
The plan is to
If I
mute.
hear you throw up, I might throw up.
Yeah, because then everybody's gonna be throwing up.
I need to take these.
But let us try to keep going. So this weird, eerie feeling happens.
Sure.
You guys don't know what it is, but it's definitely unsettling. The animals are freaking out, and Pygot seems to be the most affected.
Okay, I'm gonna ask him like what's wrong and see if he'll tell me.
In his, like, the mental images that you are given are like it's a series of images far away. You're not sure where, but basically the feeling that you're given is that he is being called somewhere far away from here.
Oh, it's like in How to Train Your Dragon.
I guess.
Toothless right now.
What's
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon?
That puppet show that they played a few months ago
Oh,
in
right,
Scornable.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
it was about how to train a black baby dragon. Didn't go very well though in the
No.
play.
Please don't. I don't want to talk about black baby dragons.
Okay.
I'll take Pygot and like kind of like hold him and like stroke his head and just be sad.
So sad.
I know.
The silence lasts
Cute.
for only a moment as things begin to return to some sense of normalcy. However, the animals do still seem to be on edge. Dogs you see in the street seem skittish or nervous. The cats that you see around seem almost feral. And you notice what's weird is that the rats seem to be gathering in large packs and are like not phased by like cats nearby. Like they're bold, these big packs of regular just street rats.
That's not cool.
Mm.
And basically you are led and like
Does Leosin react to this at all?
so basically in the same way that you guys do. Something, a disturbance in the force, if you will, that you can all sense.
Obi-Wan!
As if thousands of voices cried out. No, we're not going to go there. So,
Okay.
and he as you walk up to this building, there is a large white wolf outside of this building. When I say large, I mean as big as your horses. And it is bright white and has like these just bright ice blue eyes. And it seems on edge, but less so than the other animals you saw, but it is still there, sitting almost proper as if guarding the door.
Okay.
And he's just like, well, come this way. And he opens the door, and the wolf doesn't seem to really react much, and you guys are led inside.
Is that yours?
He says, oh, I wish.
Me too. You know, I had to leave all of my pets behind to come here.
And then as you're walking in, the wolf says, yeah, that's a bummer. Out loud in common.
He gets me.
You guys all hear it.
What?
Okay. Leo hand might go to the sword a little bit, but not trying to like make a, you know.
If he's talking, she's gonna be like, hey, what's your name, buddy?
Let's find out what his name is.
Let's find out what his name is, guys. I love puppers.
I don't think this is a pupper if it's speaking to us.
Every canine is a pupper. I don't care.
No, I mean, not. Never mind.
Right
it
now
says,
it's a pupper. It might be a person, right?
No, it says
later.
Laska.
Laska. How'd you learn how to speak common, Laska?
He says all of my kind can.
What's your kind, if you don't mind me asking?
He says winter wolves.
Cool. I've never met one before. Nice
Does
to meet you.
He's like, I also speak giant, but no, I'm just bragging.
It's okay.
I like him a little bit more.
He says anyway, though. And he just like looks ahead. And Leoson's like, come on, let's go inside.
Goodbye.
So you guys walk inside. And you head down this big chamber hall to, there's a big like circular meeting room at the end of this hall. And he says, well, welcome to the council. And you see there are several people here. Get ready, because I'm going to start listing off names, and there's a bunch of them.
Okay, here we go. So ready.
So, one is Leosin, who you know from the Harpers. You guys recognize a couple of these people, as some of them are representatives of the various factions. You recognize, well, actually, all of you recognize Ontharr Froom, the friendly, hot-tempered paladin of Torm. He's there representing the Order of the Gauntlet.
Yay.
Represent?
You see Ramalia Haventree, who is a high-ranking Harper agent.
We've also met her before.
Yes, you have. Actually, I did that on purpose so that you would know her. I remember doing that now.
Wow, always looking out, DM.
Thanks, Ted.
You're welcome, guys. You see someone, and he'll basically, as you're walking up, Leosin's kind of like, that's this. He's just giving you guys like a heads up of who's who. Lord Dag.
Like, thanks, bud.
Yeah, he's
On
like,
the shoulder.
yeah, no problem. So there's Lord Daggalt Neverember, or I guess he is the Lord Protector of Neverwinter.
Ooh.
And he's an open Lord of Waterdeep. And he points to a young dwarf. That's Ambassador Conrad Brawnanvil from Mithril Hall. Alder Ravengard, leader of the Flaming Fist of Baldur's Gate. King Melindrak of the Elves of the Misty Forest.
King?
King.
What? Where are we?
I'm underdressed.
Uh,
And I've never said that before as Roswen.
Odella is never underdressed.
That's true.
Neither is Leo.
Where were the elves from? I'm sorry, I didn't get
The king. He's the king of the Misty Forest elves. Tairn Thunderspell's Hornblade.
What?
Yep.
These
Tairn,
fucking names.
Taern, and his alias is Thunderspells Hornblade. He is a wizard here representing Silvery Moon. What else we got? We got Sir Estival of Cormyr, Purple Dragon, Knight of Cormyr.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Isn't he like super famous?
Yeah.
We have a
Wait.
king here.
No, but
Estival-
Istival is a veteran dragon hunter and council member. He gathers heroes and bears a wound on his leg that resists magical healing.
Oh my
He
god.
made from a green dragon that gave him that wound.
Well, somebody's been reading.
Someone's a sucker.
Or somebody paid attention when I purposely introduced these characters, so, like drop names of them earlier.
Sir Estival of Cornmere, what? Sorry.
Oh no, he's a Purple Dragon Knight of Cormyr.
Purple Dragon Knight.
There's Ryan Nightshade of the Zentarum.
Ryan, what an average name.
Well, it's Rian, if that helps.
Oh.
It's a little different.
Zentarum is here?
Yes. Which is a little striking
Yeah.
that there's all of these people all together. And then coming in behind you with the White Wolf at his side is, we'll say that you are familiar. This is Dylan Winterhound. You're familiar with him, Katie? He's a representative of the Emerald Enclave.
Oh, nice.
And the only other person here who I didn't mention is over here. I gotta get her name.
Those 10 NPCs. Oh, I'm sorry, 11 NPCs weren't enough. We needed a 12th one.
Yes,
That's
there's
everyone
a-
in the city, guys.
It's pretty much medieval town. We got this. 12 people.
Did I
Nope,
make up
actually-
the last name of the dwarf guy?
Conrad Brawnanvil
Thank you.
of Mithril Hall. So, basically, you guys are all brought in. You can see, and then Leosin will walk up, and he'll go to stand next to Remalia, or Remy, as she's known by her friends, Haventree. And he will say, as promised, legendary dragon hunters and thwarter of previous Cult of the Dragon activity, the Belladonnas. And he'll like gesture to the three of you.
Hi.
I bow, even though I didn't really earn it, but I want to make them believe it. I don't know, what would be the appropriate bow for all of these different people in the room?
Pretty hard to say.
Okay, I do the best I can.
You do the best bow you can think of.
Which is probably pretty good.
It's
I'm sticking with hi. I feel good about it.
Odella will curtsy.
Yeah, that works. It's good. You're not really sure what to do, but like they're also like nodding in, like, oh, the Belladonnas. Like we've heard of them.
Ow. I feel so special.
So basically, what will happen is, coming from a room in the back, comes another woman that they will introduce as Dala Silmerhelv. She's a noble of Waterdeep. And they said we will get to your business in a moment. And Remalia will speak up, Remy Haventree will speak up about how during the course of this seeming downtime, that her one of the masked lords of Waterdeep and her husband was slain by the Cult of the Dragon. And you guys now are starting to put two into this was Ardagast Ulbrinter was her husband. He is the you've heard that this happened, but the correlation perhaps because they seem to, like in true Harper fashion, keep their last name so as to not associate them with anyone else. But he was slain, and that was it. Like the Cult of the Dragon's doing their thing, but this is like her tipping point. Being high ranking in the Harpers, we need to put an end to this. We need to try and rally everybody together. I know all of us come from different backgrounds and we all have different ideals that we stand for, but we this affects all of us. We need to stand together, combine our forces and our resources, and we need to put an end to this.
I have a really dumb question.
Yeah.
Okay, were 2 people slain, or was her husband a mass lord of Waterdeep?
Her husband was a mass lord of Waterdeep.
Okay, thank you.
And so like she says her piece, and they're like, oh, yeah, you know, there's a lot of like condolences, and we're so sorry for your loss. And you can see that there is still some tension because there's all these people, high-ranking officials, all in one room, and they're like, you know, some people are like, yeah, well, like, I guess I should also say that Conrad Braunanvil of Mithril Hall. Let's see, let me just remember my dwarven history. He is the representative of, what is he? Okay, he's the former king of Mithril Hall.
Oh.
He was one, but then he abdicated his throne. It's in the first dwarven queen of Mithril Hall.
Susan really fucked us by not telling us who we were going to be meeting. I look like shit.
That note was shitty.
I know. I know.
Leo's just like, I think your pantsuit is fine.
Thank you.
Anyway, so basically then they will turn it over to Dala Silmerhelve, who will tell the group, I'm sure you're all familiar and you felt that recent disturbance that, well, I guess a disturbance is the best way to describe it, as it's unlike anything I think any of us have ever felt. It's been sensed across the Sword Coast, and that is the Drakhorn, an ancient device whose sounding alerts dragons across Faerun that great events are unfolding. It's impossible to say what the sounding means, but the dragons hear it clearly and will eventually answer its call.
My God, no, my God.
Oh man, Leo's eyes grow 3 times their size in cartoon fashion. I don't want to interrupt anybody, so like.
And I will also point out the entire time Daggle Neverember, he's just like, he looks like he can't be bothered, and he's got like a goblet of wine this entire time.
Yeah, I figured.
What a player.
And he's kind of just like, he seems like this is important stuff, but like he's a very Sir Egan air about him, if that helps.
I grew up in Neverwinter, so I'm probably familiar with this shit.
Let's steal his boxers too.
Yeah, he sort of came out of nowhere and sort of just was like, oh, yep, I'm the Lord now. Like, he wasn't really in power before. Neverwinter fell when Mount Hotenau erupted, and then he sort of was just like, whoop, look, I'm here to fix things. So people aren't necessarily too keen on him, and then somehow he also got embroiled in, you know, being a lot involved in Waterdeep. No one's really sure how, but he's clearly got resources, so...
I don't like him. I was the people.
You were the people.
I don't like him.
Yeah, true. And then he says, well... Thank you, Odella, for your information, although I'm not entirely sure how you know that was the Drakhorn or any of that information. But, and again, Ramali, I am sorry for your loss. So, we know of 2 major events that have happened recently. The Cult of the Dragon has slain in open combat, well, not open combat, but has slain a Master Lord of Waterdeep, and this supposed Drakhorn has sounded. So, before we get into what's going on and what we all know, why don't I tell you everything that we already know? And he just, like, very drolly and boringly, like, sums up everything that you guys already know about this, like the very major events that everybody knows have happened.
So he's also a mansplainer.
Basically.
Oh.
And then he basically says, you know, and we know that the Belladonnas were great in aiding our adventures here, in our adventures in destroying the Cult of the Dragon. So, with that, I shall turn it over to the Belladonnas to tell us their tale of bravery and the events that they were a part of, so we may all hear the accounts firsthand, as things get lost in translation over time. So I would like to hear it from the source. What have you... explain to us your great... We know that Skyreach Castle was stopped and the ferryment of this treasure was put to an end, but... tell us the true story of how that happened. And he looks to the three of you, as do the rest of the people, expectantly.
I push Odella forward.
I would like to take out my lute and accompany your tale, giving bardic inspiration to
Nice.
you.
Very nice.
Well, it seems like you know that we were sent on this mission to basically track the cult of the dragon. Once it was clear where all of their riches that they had been plundering up and down the coast, where they were headed to, obviously this castle, we had a different mission. So once we got to, I don't remember, was it Parnast? Was that what we were at?
Yep.
Parnast!
Once we got to Parnast, we discovered the Cloud Giant Castle. We infiltrated it very stealthily.
Yes. Flying in on wyverns, the stealthiest.
With glitter and flowers.
We befriended the owner of the castle, Blagathus, and struck a deal with him that we would clear his castle of dragons if he would allow us to basically move about the castle unimpeded by his own force. Once we got into the castle, we took care of 2 red wizards of Fae, as well as many kobolds and cultists. We made our way down inside the castle to meet with Resmir, who we promptly destroyed. And then we found out that the castle was actually home to a white dragon as well. We also struck a deal with Blagathus to help us defeat the white dragon. So we lured it out of its lair and then promptly struck it down, and she will leave out the mention of Lux because I'm not sure that Lux wants people to know that she's a gold dragon. So, and then that is basically the brief summary of the story.
I do a dramatic fade out.
Sure. We'll say that for intents and purposes, just because, Leosin will chime in and be like, well, don't leave out, and I'll look to Roswen, your heroics at the town of Greenest, and your rescue of me from the raider camp.
He just meant, like, literally tell us what happened in the castle.
Oh, no, he meant the whole story from the beginning.
Okay, well, then I would have started from the beginning.
Okay, then that's fine. We'll say you did.
You weren't there. Let me tell you.
Tell us, Roswen.
So, I wake up one night, terrible dream in my head. I just knew there was danger in Greenest. So being the person that I am, I had to go and save people.
I'm hesitantly restarting my loot.
Those who have power to do so are indebted to those who can't, and we must protect them. And we infiltrated the city, deftly maneuvering from building to building, saving what I remember being a ridiculous amount of people. And we were finally able to get to the hold, where we were sent out on many missions to go lock down places and get rid of cultists that were just all over the place. It's what I can only describe as willy-nilly. And so we did that. And then we went back and we had like this ballista, and we there was this dragon, so we were shooting at it, and then we got to go away like champions. So my story's good too.
We'll say that Roswen also, in similar fashion, explains about the dragon hatchery and saving Leosin from the clutches of the cult of the dragon. And we'll say he thanks you that you don't reference the fact that he got captured on purpose, and then couldn't get back out.
No, he totally slayed that. He was doing great. He didn't even need us, but
And at this point,
politician.
the cult of the conversation around the dragon eggs causes a little bit of back and forth between people. The Emerald Enclave agrees that you did the right thing by taking them and saving them. As dragon eggs being destroyed, chromatic dragons are part of the natural order thing, and killing their young upsets the balance of order. Other people are a little upset. The Zentarum are upset that you didn't just kill them outright. Daggalt Nevermember says, well, we could have sold them to reasonable buyers and made some capital from it. The Harpers chime in that they would have tried to keep them to ransom them back to their parent dragons and see if they could strike a deal with them that way.
So my dog's having nightmares.
I was wondering.
Clearly, your dog also thinks the Harpers are grass.
Hold on.
For selling. I'm sorry, Ted. The person who spoke before, what faction do they belong to?
Dala Silmerhelm or Daggle? Never remember.
The ones after Zentarum and before the Harpers. You said a name. Lord, maybe?
Hang on. Let me find out. Let me go through who I said, because I don't remember.
Because we said the Emerald Enclave were happy you saved him. The Zentarum were sad you didn't kill him. And then blank, and then the Harper said you didn't keep them to sell them for money.
Daggalt Neverember. He's that guy that you don't like.
Oh, he's a jerk.
But he's part of the Lord's Alliance. Most of the kingly people, they're all part of the Lord's Alliance. King Melindrak, Conrad Broadanvil, all these folks, they're all members of the Lord's Alliance. And they'll listen to your whole story, and basically, they're like, eventually Leosin kind of steps in as the voice of reason as this starts to escalate and people start arguing about what should have been done, and he's like, I know I'm not really supposed to be here, because I'm not, like, of the level of everyone here, but what happened. Like, it's in the past now. We can't change that. So, I know we all have strong opinions on what we believe, but perhaps a party who is showing us what can happen when members of our different factions work together to great effect will be the voice of reason in these discussions. And again, he keeps gesturing to the three of you. And Daggalt Neveremember is like, fine. Well, let us, now that we've explained what happened and heard the first-hand tale of the Belladonnas and discussed this nonsense with the hatchery, let us discuss... well, first of all, Belladonnas, will you be willing to be the hand to the voice of this council and do what must be done in places where we cannot go due to our station or otherwise? Will you be the ones to help us finish what you started with Skyreach Castle?
I believe we would like to see this through, yes.
I would love to take a knee in front of everybody and say, we are more than equipped and ready to deal with whatever trouble faces the Sword Coast. We are your heroes in arms, in sorcery, and in nature to be able to take on this threat and vanquish it for the good of all. You have my blade. I would like to draw my blade dramatically on my knee. I bow my head.
Roswen takes her hand and just kind of like puts his hand down with his blade. It's like, no.
I slowly lower.
Odella is like rolling her eyes so hard.
Anything we can do to help and save people, I'm sure we'd all be happy to.
And he says, well, that's wonderful to hear. And he says, shall we? And someone comes over, like an attendant comes over and brings out like a wooden box, and he opens it up and he draws forth a scroll. And he basically hands you guys a writ. And he says, for all intents and purposes, this gives you shall we say, emergency investigative powers and the ability to look into things where one would normally not be able to cross into different lands of any of the folks here without drawing suspicion. However, it does also give us a bit of oversight over your activities as well, as we will know where you are when you use this.
Okay.
I'll take it.
So they can track us, but we get like...
It's like a free pass, basically.
A 007 permit?
Pretty much.
Is it a license to kill?
That's included in the 007 permit.
It is as you peruse it, it doesn't expressly say that, but it doesn't expressly say that it's not.
It could be interpreted to say that.
It
Yes.
doesn't
Okay,
say that it's not.
We also need to get a lawyer. We're very rich. We can hire a lawyer.
I peruse it. Is there a limit to the amount of pets that I can take with me?
Yeah, we want to read the contract.
Yeah, let's read this.
Can we take like a 5-minute recess to read the contract? No, Leo will absolutely not do that. He will sign it immediately.
All right, so
and
well, you
carry
just
it with him.
yeah.
always.
This is basically your get out of jail free. Like if you find yourself in the misty forest and the elves assault you, you can be like, "Whoop, hold up, writ," and they're like, "All right, our bad. You guys are good to go." The king said
Time
it's
to
cool.
turn evil, everybody.
Time to just explore.
So,
No.
as this goes on,
Kill dragons.
That too.
Yes.
so they basically, Romalia will step up and say again that she has additional information, as was alluded to prior to our meeting. One of our operatives who has gone under deep cover to a remote location has, we believe, determined the whereabouts of Varum the White Dragon Worm Speaker.
Varum?
Varum, Varram.
The white.
Wasn't he
do
supposed
we-
to be in
Sorry,
Parnas?
Guys, do we know what a worm speaker is?
Yeah, we would have told you about that. They're like 5 heads of the cult of the dragon. They each take color of a dragon, like a evil dragon. And so there's Varum the White. There is
They're
That's
also
okay.
the
Leo can only
wielder
remember
of
one
the
name.
okay.
the wielder of the, and they will also say the wearer of the white dragon mask.
What is that?
A
Odella
powerful.
can tell you about that. Spend some time researching dragon.
But also, tell the listeners at home too, because in case they're new to this,
Yes.
I'm
So,
looking out for them, not for
I
myself.
will give a little. Odella has some knowledge that she gained, but basically, to follow up with that, there are 5 worm speakers of Tiamat, the high leaders of the cult of the dragon. One, as Odella and Laura had stated, for each chromatic dragon head. We can list off the names in just a bit here.
That's fine. I'll just murder them one by one.
But they
Good
part
approach.
part of the story previously was that the Belladonnas slayed the black dragon worm speaker Resmir at the end of Hoard of the Dragon Queen.
Ooh, that was who that was.
But the black dragon mask was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
The black dragon mask is apparently a very powerful dragon-themed artifact that is given to the head of each of the worm speakers. And Odella does have, I don't want to give away more than I should, but you have some information you researched on it, right?
Right. Basically, Odella was worried because she said that it was told to her that Resmir should have this in her possession, and when we killed her, she did not. And since it was very specifically mentioned, she did research on these masks, and basically all I got from that research was that they give resistance of like that damage type to the wearer.
And I'll give you this other piece because this is what I meant, but what your assumption on that is accurate, but it grants a degree of a dragon's legendary resistance to the wearer.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. I was like, wow, that's a really lame item if that's all it did.
Cool, I got a cloak that does that.
And
Lame.
Okay, then add that on to it.
All right.
Pack
Okay,
that
so
on.
Resmir is dead, so we got 4 more to kill. Maybe 5 if somebody else is
But the
wearing
black
these freaking
dragon mask is
masks.
Still
Right.
out there,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So they probably elected a new black worm speaker. Maybe that's why
Got it.
Reznir didn't have
So
it.
now we know where Varen is.
Yes. And Remy will look to you, Odella, and say, someone that I believe you know quite well has found this information for us.
I
And
figured it
she'll
was her.
just, yeah. So that we can, and they basically tell you that they can provide you with the maps and the locations of how to get there. And then also, Dala Silmerheld will speak up again about the Drakhorn and say that she believes, or she has it on good authority. Basically, she knows that the Drakhorn is in the far north, somewhere in the Sea of Moving Ice. Thank you for the host, Askren. Good sir.
Hey, Askren, you're the best.
And she says, or she will say, because they didn't put anything on the same page, the Sea of Moving Ice was the last known location of the Drakhorn. No one can pinpoint its present location from the sound, or even verify with certainty that the relic is still in the Northern Sea, but the search must start there. The one person who could tell us more is a tiefling sorcerer named Macath the Crimson. No one alive knows more about the Drakhorn than her, but the Arcane Brotherhood, of which she is also a member, hasn't seen her for 3 years. She was investigating the Sea of Moving Ice when she disappeared. Macath reported her progress to the host tower of the Arcane by way of sending spells. Her last report spoke of seeing ice hunters paddling their sealskin boats towards a huge iceberg, flattened like a plateau across its surface, but ringed by icy peaks. She had intended to follow the ice hunters and investigate the iceberg. After that, no more reports came. Attempts to find Macath using scrying or other magical means located only her ship, adrift and heavily damaged. Some of the ship's crew were seen dead, but no sign of the tiefling sorcerer was ever found.
Okay.
However, the Lair of a Dragon is powerful, as a Rathator is no doubt protecting against scrying magic, which is a very powerful dragon in the Sea of Moving Ice. A powerful white dragon.
Arathador White Dragon.
If Macath is alive, in addition to the lore she can share regarding the Drakhorn, the Arcane Brotherhood should be most grateful to get her back. You know that the Arcane Brotherhood is it was a very old group that was focused in Waterdeep, and there was a thing called the it was focused in Waterdeep, but then there was the host tower of the Arcane, was a powerful magical structure in Luskan, and it was destroyed during the Spell Plague, and it has recently been brought back. It has been reestablished. So she provides you that, and basically the
When did Macath go missing? Like, how long has she been missing?
they haven't heard from her in 3 years. I think is
What?
Whoa, that's a long time.
That's relevant information.
Yeah, I read
Oh,
that.
wow.
No one alive knows more about the Drakhorn than her, but the Arcane Brotherhood, of which she is also a member, hasn't seen her for 3 years.
I don't
Okay.
remember that.
So basically, the only lead we've been given is about the Drakhorn, about this tiefling sorcerer who was a researcher, and we know she is in the Sea of Moving Ice to the north somewhere. And she was attacked presumably by ice warriors, and there's also a dragon there who might have something to do with this.
Correct.
Is that all good? Okay.
That is all good. And then you also know about Varum the White Dragon Worm Speaker. Leosin has more information, and so does Romalia, of where he was last seen. If you wish to go that way as well, you have options of whichever you'd like to do.
I mean, I'm a fan of my buddy Leosin.
So the sea, or I mean, no, we should, if she was in the sea, like, when she left, we should just go there, yeah?
Well, the Sea of Moving Ice is a massive area.
Yeah. I kind of feel like let's kill this guy.
Yeah.
First, because this lady's been gone for 3 years.
Kill Verum first.
Yeah.
Because you know where he is, and she's
Yeah.
been missing for
If
3
we know where
years.
he is, he could move, and that would be bad.
Yeah, so go kill Varen.
And then I lean over to Roswen, and I'm like, plus Mir might be there.
I can't wait for you guys to meet up again. I miss you two together.
I sideways look like, what? I
But
missed
I
the
like it.
gossip.
I like it when I was like, they were lovers.
I go, oh, that explains a lot.
That's why Mom Della is so bitter all
Yeah.
the time.
Odella, I'm so sorry. I had no idea.
It was not like that at all.
Don't let her fool you.
Of course. Wink.
So, the council will look to you and say, it's up to you to decide what you'd like to do. We will provide you what we can in aid. And they kind of leave the open decision to you guys.
100,000 gold.
Oh, right. There's kings here.
And I think that's probably where I'm going to just end it for tonight, because I can feel another rush of the nausea coming on.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no, buddy.
Fine.
So anyway, guys,
Alright.
thank you so much. Thank you, Celeste, for the first episode. I appreciate it.
Yay! Happy to be here.
The next episode will be longer, I promise, but I'm gonna go puke my guts out, guys. Thank you so much for watching Rise of
It's
Tiamat
like a
number
24-hour stream again, all over again.
Yeah. And I will see you guys next time.
All right, let's leave before
Bye.
Jeff pukes. Bye.
All right, bye, everybody.